Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Healthy Souls with Coach T. I am your host, Coach T, transformational coach and ordained minister, helping broken women to navigate the complexities of broken and failed relationships. And I do this by empowering them and equipping them with the tools necessary to love beyond the false fears and failures of others and even those of their own. So, we're going to talk about today the benefits of cyber surveillance of our ex. Now, is there really a benefit to cyber surveillance of our ex? Now, we must think that there's a benefit to it, which is why we do it. So before we jump into our discussion today, I want to actually give the definition of cyber surveillance. Cyber surveillance is a mechanism for the surveillance of persons, objects, or processes that is based on new technologies. What is the definition of benefit? Something that produces good or helpful results, effects that promote well-being, an advantage of discounted prices and or other. And so again, what is the benefit of conducting cyber surveillance of our ex? And is there a benefit? So before we dive in, I always have a story because my life has so many things that has happened. And I only hope that each time that I meet with you on this broadcast, as you meet with me here, that I can share something that I hope will bring encouragement to your life. So when I was married to my kid's dad, years later into that relationship, I had some situations that allowed me to hone in on my own detective skills that I didn't even know that I had. That whole relationship brought out something in me where I became the inch-high private eye. As a result, I always found out information that was more than I wanted to know, or shown out or proved to even be the truth. However, I was privy to this information. Later on, we decided that it was best for us to separate and go our separate ways. I found myself becoming the inch-high private eye even then, even in separation. I found myself driven to be the inch-high private eye. And it was because my broken heart was leading me to act in a way that was not serving me well and adding to my brokenness. So now, even though this was many years ago, the truth set me free. And so I hope that my truth will also be a catalyst to help set some of you free as well. I found myself going to some of his known favorite spots and sitting in my car just to even see what I could see. That's crazy, right? I was on social media waiting to see what posts I could see. So like if I knew that he was involved with someone, because he wasn't on social media at the time, but if I knew that he was involved with someone, I would actually go to their social media pages and kind of just watch the pages just to see what I could see. What was that actually? Of course, now the issue with this is this. One, he had made a decision to move out at this point. Two, this was only adding to my personal ability to move into a place of healing. He had made his decision. He was moving on with his life. And I was sitting here tormenting myself and creating additional misery because I could not move forward, because I was wallowing in self-pity instead of taking control of my own life. I can be honest in saying the more I gave thought, energy, and effort to him and what he was doing, the more I wanted to know. And that was inadvertently self-sabotaging my own healing process. And so oftentimes what we do is that this curiosity and this need to know that we have would send us and drive us to go to our ex social media outlets and begin to kind of, if you will, survey their pages. We don't ever make any posts. We won't make our presence known, but we'll begin to survey their page day in, day out. And if we're not careful, we become consumed with doing this. Why is that? Because we want to know. Our heart wants to know who they're involved with, what they're doing. And what fuels that is because we want to know, is there a new person, and is this person getting more than what I got from the individual? And it stems from we're brokenhearted. No one enters into a relationship, and certainly a marriage, with the expectation that the relationship is not going to work. And so if you find yourself on that end of brokenness, relational brokenness, then it's hard to fathom that someone that you feel like you've given everything to, that you've done everything for, that you feel like you've been the best that you can do and be to them, that they would have made such a choice. But the reality is, people make their own decisions. See, the enemy of our mind and our heart and our soul was using my pain, my insecurities, my fear, my worry, and my uncertainty against me. Now, don't cringe, because I know I'm not alone. I said, he's trying to do the same thing to some of you that are listening right now. I found myself worrying more and more about how me and my children were going to maintain our lifestyle of living, how I was going to feed my children. Would this new woman take from my children things that my children were used to? Would they even take from the lifestyle that I had with him? See, this was fear. This was worry. At this point in my life, my heart was so broken that a bounce back relationship wouldn't even satisfy. And some of us will run to the bounce back relationships that will only prove that they don't satisfy. They may satisfy the lower extremities at best, but they will not satisfy the heart. I was desperate for my soul wounds to be healed. The worry had started to run rampant in my life and in my heart. And it was growing. My heart was becoming more and more faint each day because I had anxiety about what he was doing and who he was doing it with. See, like I said, I know I'm not alone, because it was difficult to lay down and go to sleep at night, because even in my trying to lay down and go to sleep at night, I wanted to know where he was. Who was he laying down with and going to sleep with at night? It was consuming me. So it's interesting how someone can do us bad and do us wrong while they're with us. But even in their leaving, we continue to allow the ideal of them. Because see, it's no longer a reality at that point when they make a decision to leave. But the false reality that we have in our mind and in our heart about who we want them to be to us we still allow that to do us wrong, and we allow that to consume us, and we allow that to drive us. And so worrying was really, really chasing me down. And so when we're going to take a break and when we come back, we're going to talk about worry, because we go into this mode of cyber surveillance. And we don't just do cyber surveillance like I did. I was going to places that he frequent, hiding out, peeping, ducking, hiding, looking. And the funny thing was, my BFF, I tried to get her to go a couple of times, and she was like, girl, no, I ain't doing that. But guess what I did? I only found somebody else that would go with me, who would be a ride or die for that. Now, my BFF is my ride or die, but she wouldn't ride or die for that. And so that's what we do, right? We find someone who co-signed with us. Now, I don't ding the other person, because at that time, that was just a place that the other young lady and I both were at in our lives, where we, just did stuff like that. However, today and who I am today, I'm not doing any of that. If you leave, then you leave. I'm not coming 2 steps to find you. That's just what it is. But I didn't have that knowledge. I didn't have that strength back then. And so I can be honest and say that. So when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about worry and the effects of worrying about the ex and cyber surveying our ex after they leave.
When I look in the mirror, I see a girl, beautifully broken, perfectly flawed. I don't even know how I made it this far. And I'm asking myself questions like, why did I do it? Why did this happen to me? Then I said, you can get through it. You just have to believe what I do now. Gotta make it all count. So why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through this storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me, I'll move then I'll come out even better than before. And I'll never see this place anymore, 'cause my faith is getting stronger every day. I'm removing everything that's in my way. And the fact that I survived another day makes me say, why not me? Why not me? Why? One day I'm up, the next I'm down. Problems coming faster than I can count. Who can I run to? No one to talk to. Can somebody tell me what to do? Why did I do it? Why did this happen to me? You can get through it. You just have to believe what I do now. Gotta make it all count. So why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through the storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me. I'll move on. Then I'll come out even better than before. And I'll never see this place anymore, 'cause my faith is getting stronger every day. I'm removing everything that's in my way. And the fact that I survived another day. This is my moment, there's no turning back. It took me a while, but I have no regrets. I've given my all, letting go of the past. I'm not gonna break, and I won't be afraid. Oh, this is my moment, this is my time. Just move out my way, 'cause I'm not backing down. Now that I realize who I am, I'm alive. So why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through the storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me, I'll move on. Then I'll come out even better than before. And I'll never see this place anymore, 'cause my faith is getting stronger every day. I'm removing everything that's in my way. And the fact that I survived another day makes me say, why not me? I'm the perfect person to go through this storm. It won't break me, it won't kill me, I'll move on. Then I'll come out even better than before. And I'll never see this place anymore, 'cause my faith is getting stronger every day. I'm removing everything that's in my way. And the fact that I survived another day makes me say, why not me? Why? Eh, why? Why? I can make it, I can take it, I won't break. No, 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 no. Oh, 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 oh. Why not me?
Welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, we're talking about what is the benefit of conducting cyber surveillance on our ex? Or is there a benefit of conducting cyber surveillance of our ex? And I promised that when we came back from the break that we would talk about worry and the impact of worry and anxiety and how it increases frustration and impedes our healing process when we go through a breakup. So let's talk about worry. So before we go into talking about worry, let's look at what the Bible has to say in Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 27. It reads, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valued than they? And which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? And so here, Jesus letting us know clearly and explicitly, expressively, that there is no gain in our worry. It only increases our frustration. It only increases our anxiety. And he says, which of you, by being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? So in other words, when we are in a place of worry and anxiety about what is happening in our lives, and in this case of what we're talking about, how the ex has walked out the door and left us, then guess what? It impedes our growth process. It impedes our healing process. And so when I say growth, I don't want to make that sound like growth as in we just forget what's happening in our lives and we're just picking up and moving on and A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, that's not what I'm saying. But he says, and why are you anxious? Being anxious can add a single hour to his span of life. So it does not add to us. It does not add value to us. It does not add increase to us. It does not promote our growth and our healing when we do things that keep us in a place of worry and frustration. And so when we are operating in cyber surveillance and seeing all the things that our ex is doing, is that really helping us? Is that really benefiting us? Or is that increasing our anxiety? Is it increasing our frustration? Is it increasing our worry? So for example, if you see that you're struggling after the ex leave to take care of your home and feed the children, and yeah, maybe that person that left is paying some type of level of support, but still your home is suffering greatly. And then you look online and you see that that individual is going all out for someone that they're in a new relationship with. How does that make you feel? Does that make you feel furious, angry, frustrated? Does it make you have a bunch of regrets about the relationship with that person, about your life? Does it make you feel bad about yourself, your self-confidence, your self-worth, your self-value? So then in that case, then what happens is not only do you now feel some kind of way about being in the broken relationship or being or coming out of that marriage or that relationship, but now you feel some kind of way about your own self-value and your self-worth. And so when we begin to do all the cyber surveillance of the ex, we are not helping ourselves. We tell ourselves we are helping ourselves, but that's what we do to justify our actions. And then we don't always survey him or her, but sometimes we even take it the next step and start surveying the people that they're dealing with as if we had a relationship with that individual. And that's when we're like, we're way over the top. And so Jesus is admonishing us that worrying does not add growth to us. It does not add healing to us. It does not add value to us. And if you go on down and you read in Matthew 6:33, he says, but seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. And what is the kingdom? The kingdom is right relationship with our creator. It is internal peace and joy everlasting in Christ Jesus. And I mean, like, really, who doesn't want a life of goodness, a life of peace, and a life of joy? All the things that we feel like when we go through a broken relationship, the things that we feel like have suddenly been stripped away from us. We don't feel like there is any goodness in us. We don't feel like there's any peace in our lives. We don't feel like we have any joy in that moment. But when we begin to seek the kingdom, when we begin to seek the Lord Jesus and our relationship with him and restoration and healing in and through him, then guess what? Then we are restored to a place of wholeness. And that's what he wants us to know. Guess what? You don't have to worry about what you think that this person is not going to give to your life or add to your life. He said, look, come to me. Talk to me. He is summoning us into his presence where he will provide to us. He will meet our needs. He will give us what we need, not just emotionally, but he is a God of provision. And so we can go to him. That's what he wants us to come to him. And so I am a person of research. I like to do research to back up what I said. And so I happened to find an article in the Post-Breakup Social Media Surveillance and Growth Journal. This is actually research, y'all. And in this research, it uncovered 464 participants who revealed that post-breakup social media surveillance resulted in greater distress, more negative feelings, increased sexual desire, a longing for their ex, and a lower drive for personal growth. Now, that's exactly what the scripture just said. Is that it doesn't add one thing to us when we're in that place of worrying, frustration, anxiety. It doesn't add to us because our focus is off. So these people in the study, these 464 participants, this particular 464 people in the study actually are speaking and attesting to that very fact. In other words, the feeling to go on and become greater than the breakup seems impossible. But we know that with God, all things are possible. We know that it is him who empowers us to be and to become our best self. But we can't do that outside of him. We're going to need some help once we suffer those major blows and heartbreaks to our heart. Based on this research, we can surmise or assume that social media exposure or connection post-breakup interferes and impedes our healing process. On the other hand, there were individuals in this study who chose not to remain connected to their ex and revealed just the opposite. They recovered much faster. What I love about what the study said is that they made a choice not to remain connected to those exes. And they increased, and their healing process was much faster. I wonder what the difference was. And I didn't go that deep into the study, but if I just have to analyze it in thinking about it, is that maybe they had more room, time, and opportunity to focus on themselves and their individual healing rather than surveying someone on social media or running out in the street and going to their ex's favorite hangout spots and hiding out in corners, peeping, ducking, hiding in the corner, trying to see what the ex is doing or was doing or is doing and who they're doing it with. These individuals chose to focus on themselves, their healing, their development, and their own growth. So why do we worry and resort to cyber surveillance, which only increases the worry and the anxiety? Why do we remain social media connected? While it is normal to want to know what is going on, it is not a need to know. The need to know becomes unhealthy, and we must lean in and ask ourselves the hard question about why do we want to need to know. For some of us, we gave all that we could, did all that we know to do, and then some. But what happens is that pride says, how dare you? How dare you walk away from this relationship and all the investment I made? Pride, along with the inability to accept that grown people make grown decisions from a very selfish place sometimes, complicates our ability to just simply let go. We can continually to think that we did something or that we didn't do something, when the truth is, it is that individual who walked away that did something or didn't do something. Now, don't get me wrong. Every person, all parties have to own their part in the breakup. But what we cannot do is become so consumed in what I did and what I didn't do when someone else makes a choice to walk away from the relationship or to continually abuse the relationship. We can't get so overwhelmed in the what did I, what didn't I do, that we fail to receive Christ's forgiveness for what we did do, for what our part was, and then grow from there. Because at the end of the day, ultimately, we all want growth. When a breakup is fresh, there are triggers that will challenge us and sometimes provoke great pain. It can be a movie that we watch. It could be a TV show. Sometimes it's attending a wedding. For some people, it's difficult for them to attend weddings after a breakup. It could be a song that you hear. It could be, oh, this was a big one for me. Smelling a particular cologne or in a particular family of colognes that my ex wore. That was a difficult one for me. Or if you're a man, maybe it's smelling a certain perfume. See, these things are real out here in these relationship streets. And I don't care how saved, sanctified, and filled with the precious Holy Ghost we are. We don't really want to talk about these things, but yet people are experiencing them and they think that something is wrong with them as a result of the experiences that they're having. But I'm here to confirm and affirm that there's nothing wrong with you. These experiences are real. And someone just needs to talk about them. And that's why you're tuned in with Healthy Soul with Coach T, because I'm not afraid to share my experiences. I'm not ashamed to talk about what I've gone through. But what I will say is that out here in these relationship streets, we have to heal and we have to focus on our healing. And we can't chase the ghost of relationship past and constantly remain in a wounded and broken place. We worry what people will say. Now, that's a major one. Why do we worry about that? Well, the truth of the matter is we worry because many of us have been on the gossip circuit. In some ways, we led the gossip, or we definitely shared in it. And so this makes us think that my life is going to be the next headline news. The gossip world is savage, and people are drawn to a good story about the demise of other people's relationships, as if those individuals are not living, breathing, feeling human beings who bleed and hurt. See, we don't want to talk about that, but people hurt. And we don't need to join in with their demise and their relationship pain as if it doesn't exist. I finally got to a place where I learned to overcome public opinion, which I consider as the opinion of others. And it changed my life. I have learned that people will be hardcore judges of your life, but my God, they will be excellent defense attorneys of their own. Just listen to them. Should they ever go down the rocky dirt road of your journey or a similar journey, then they can better understand what your journey was like. A wise lady once said to me, if you don't say too much, Tracy, you won't have too much to take back. And I still remember that to this day. So when we're going through our things in relationships, when we see others going through their things, if we don't say too much, if we don't beat them up about it, if we don't gossip about it, if we don't talk about how awful they are trying to go through it, then should we find ourselves walking down the same journey, then I don't have to be the good defense attorney about my own stuff, because I've been a horrible judge of someone else's. Either way, I can say, you know what, Lord, give them the grace to get through it. Because to whom much is given, much is required. And I know we apply that to money, but go back and read again. To whom much grace is given, much grace is required. We also worry because of our children in these situations. And this is another huge one. If you've gone through a major breakup and you have children, we worry about that. We worry that if this person gets involved with someone else, is that someone else new going to take from the children? And this is bigger than material things. And so if that was the first thought, let's come up higher in our thinking. Are they going to take time from the children? Now, here's the deal. Of course, if the children are not living in that home with that person now, the ex, guess what? There is going to be a time gap, but time should be made. And so as a parent of those children and having the ex, you are concerned that your children will have the time that they need with their dad. That is another worry, another anxiety, another concern, because both parents should want the best for their children. See, children don't care about your money. What they want is your movement. They want your time. They want to know that you're going to be at their game. They want to know that you're going to be at their school events, or that you're just going to simply pick them up and take them to the park and spend time with them. All of this creates anxiety, worry, and frustration, which sometimes sends us on a cyber surveillance to see what we can see. But again, the problem with this is if we see those things with other people, then how does that impact us? How does that impede us? Does it really empower us? Probably not. It probably adds to our pain. It probably adds to our frustration. It is critical to our growth and self-optimization and purpose that we do whatever is necessary in order to walk into that place of healing. When we come back from the next break, I'm going to give 3 points that will hopefully help us to back up, step away, move away from the computer, and stop our cyber surveillance.
You ever find yourself in a place that you don't know what to say? Yeah. The things I depended on were gone. I realized I couldn't do it on my own. I used to want to understand your plan. Now all I want to see is your hand. My heart is open so wide, even though there's so much pain inside. As I'm on this journey, I need you to help me, Lord, help me, yeah. And I know I
this last segment of today's show, Healthy Soul with Coach T, I want to give us 3 points that would hopefully either stop us or minimize our desire for conducting cyber surveillance on our ex. 1, we have to grieve the breakup. There are 7 stages that is associated with a major breakup, and we have to grieve the breakup. Real quick, those stages are: we're desperate for answers, denial. We're in denial about the breakup, bargaining, just trying to bargain about the relationship and trying to probably keep the relationship intact with the individual. 4 is a relapse. You may find that you may relapse or find that you're still trying to go out with the person here and there. 5, anger. You start experiencing extreme anger the further you go down in these stages. Number 6 is initial acceptance. And then number 7 is redirected hope. So the final stage in the 7 stages of grieving a breakup is redirected hope. And that is the stage where you realize that although that breakup is in the final stage and it is over, you realize that life holds many more opportunities and possibilities for you. And so you begin to embrace that reality and the new hope and the new possibilities for your life. So you grieve the breakup. Then you also now begin to regroup. That is your now what phase. It's now what? You begin to rediscover yourself. What things do you like? What things do you not like so much anymore? Do you even know? So if you spend any significant amount of time in that relationship and now you're going through a breakup, you have to rediscover what you like, what you don't like, and all of that. And it takes time to rediscover yourself. And you really want to do this and complete this step, this phase, before you go into another relationship. You hear people say that the best way to get over a new man or a new woman is to get under another one. Well, that's not true. And that's going to only intensify and lead to more heartbreak when that relationship goes fast, because research also proves that rebound relationships don't really last. You may get at best 4 months out of a rebound relationship before they start going south. And so we want to make sure that we are taking care of our soul, not making it worse. So point number 1 is grieve the relationship and then regroup, rediscover yourself post breakup. Number 2, implement and execute a plan of healing. This means seeking counseling. That's either pastoral care or professional counseling. Practice your block game. You either block this person on all forms of social media. Now, blocking them in your phone, that's hit or miss, because if you're still wrapping up business, you may not be able to do that. But you can also work out with the individual how you choose to be contacted. But blocking them on social media, if you do not have the willpower to not do the cyber surveillance, then you may have to block them on social media so that you're not looking at their Facebook content constantly and making it harder for yourself, making it creating your own anxiety. So practice your block game. Also, in this plan of implementing and executing a healing plan, you're going to have some hard conversations with many people and establish some boundaries. So starting with your ex, if you have children, how are you going to co-parent moving forward? What is the contact method? What are the boundaries and the consequences that you're going to set with your ex? So what are you going to do when that ex try to creep over in the midnight hour? What are you going to do when that ex ask you to do some of the things that they're so used to you always doing? See, those are the types of things that will probably happen, and you have to be prepared because they will happen. But remember, if I can encourage you with this, remember that person made a decision and they made a choice, and all those benefits that you gave in the relationship, they decided they didn't want those, which led to them leaving. They made a choice to leave. And so now you are at a place where you have to make some choices as well. So setting up boundaries and consequences with your ex about how you're going to co-parent if you have children. If you don't have children, still, what will be the boundaries with the ex as you try to heal and move forward from the breakup? You may be able to at some point come back and have a great friendship, but while you are going through a healing process, what boundaries do you need to have? Even with friends, let them know that, look, I appreciate you, but I don't want to know or need to know anything about my ex unless it's going to be harmful if there are children in place. Let them know that because healing is my priority, I choose not to know, hear, or listen to anything that pertains to the ex. It's in my best interest not to do that right now. And that's okay. So you have to make these decisions that are in the best interest of your healing at this point. You don't want to delay the healing process because you keep taking it. And people will mean well. However, you have to make the decision that's going to be best for you. And then accountability. Set up accountability. Have an accountability partner for those times when you get those DMs or those text messages that are very tempting. This person needs to be someone who agrees that your healing is a priority. Not a person who would say, girl, go ahead. Man, go ahead and do it. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Man, it's harmless. Go ahead, girl, get yours. Bruh, go ahead. Don't be no punk. We can fall into all those things. But then when our soul is in chaos as a result of it, then we're left holding our heart in our hand, not the person who encouraged us to go ahead and just do it. So again, the accountability partner in this process for your healing needs to be someone who agrees that your healing is a priority for you. And they're going to hold you accountable to, that's probably not a good idea for you right now. No, you don't need to do that. Or they'll intervene and say, look, instead of you going over there, why don't you come in over here and you can hang out over here? That's what that person is going to do in that place for you. Point number 3, take a social media break. Maybe right now, in that middle of that breakup, at the onset of that breakup, is a good time to take a social media break. Maybe that is the opportune time to say, you know what? I need to go back, take a social media break, and just not connect with what the individual is doing online. And guess what? That's okay. Take a social media break. The Bible says, guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. Find the courage to step away from social media altogether. See, it doesn't matter what people say. Oh, you left social media because of your ex. No, I left social media because of me. See, the narrative that we tell ourselves about ourselves and about our circumstance is key. Don't let people tell your narrative for you. When they put a spin on it, it's going to impact how it affects you. So you tell the narrative, you tell the story to yourself about yourself, how you want to hear it. That matters. Don't allow the falsehood of social media relationships to be the trigger for you. Because looking at that will not only be the trigger, but it'll pull the trigger and it'll be the thing that kills you. Because you will see the falsehood of relationships. And it will make you feel worse about yourself. It will increase your anxiety. It will increase your frustration. It'll bring down your self-confidence. It'll bring down your self-esteem. So you may just need to step away from social media altogether for a season, for a period of time. And then guess what? When you feel stronger, come back. Now, some people say, well, what about if I run a business or I run a business, I have a business? Then great. Guess what? Step away from your personal page. But on your business page, you continue to do your business on your business page. But then you have to be strong enough and disciplined enough to handle the business, but not do the personal. That's the distinction. I know I had to do that myself. And that's going to take some discipline. Unlike if you could just step away for a season, for a period of time. So then what is my final thought? My final thought is simply this. There are no benefits to cyber surveillance of our ex. It only creates hidden dangers that will eventually damage the soul. So I encourage us to stay away from it. do what is necessary to heal. Thank you so much for chiming in, sitting with me today, riding with me, and listening to this episode of Healthy Soul with Coach T. Catch the replay Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on Spinwax Radio. Download the app on iOS or Android. If you're not currently following me, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Simplistic Solutions RLC, or you can also follow my creative writing page on Facebook at Elect Lady Chronicles or on Instagram at eLady Chronicles. I'll see you online.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Walking out of slavery into all that God has planned for me. Chains are falling at my feet. Moving forward now, I see my past can't go with me as I step into my destiny now. We walk to freedom. What we see right now, we'll never see again. As we cross over to your promise, our past behind us, nothing can stop us now. As we cross over to your promise. Hey, who I was before there's so much more. There is so much more waiting for the falling at my feet. I'm moving forward now. I see past can't go with me as I step into my destiny. Say we want to freedom. What we see right now, we'll never see again. Hey, as we cross over to your promise, let's go, y'all. Behind us, nothing can stop us now. As we cross over to your promise, we cross over. Cross over to your promise. Go ahead, come on. Yeah. It's time to cross over out of the grave, back into life, from under shame into your light. There are no chains. Woo! On the other side, we're crossing over out of the grave, back into life, from under shame into your light. There are no chains on the other side. We're crossing over. I feel Jesus in the room. Out of the grave, back into life, from under shame into your light. There are no chains. As I step into my destiny now. We walk to freedom. What we see right now, we'll never see again. As we cross over to your promise, our past is behind us. Nothing can stop us now. As we cross over, here we go. Out of the grave, back into life. 'cause my past can't go with me as I step into